It is what it is.
Tiredness is different at this age. Like
It does.
the past couple days, bro, like a couple months ago, I used to be able to just be up to like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning every day, back up at 5. But like in the past couple weeks, I changed up like my sleeping habits just a little bit. I try to go to bed like around 10:30.
Mhm.
And bro, when 9 o'clock, 9:30 roll around, and I'm just like, yo, falling asleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Just like
Like I feel it too. More of like even because I train jujitsu.
so
Like
the body
yeah,
needs a rest.
bro. Like
Yeah.
couple years back though, like I can train like all week and not feel shit. Like not even really be sore. I was sore, bro. I'll be good the next day to go
Yeah.
back in the gym and just keep working.
Yeah.
But now, bro, oh my god, like
I
I
need at least
feel
2
it, bro.
days.
Yeah, no, I feel it. I can. It's a big difference, and it's so weird. Like now I get so sore. Like sometimes, like like if even if I go back, I don't go as hard. I like take it easy, just drill, come home, wait probably till the weekend to go like crazy again. But
Yeah.
yeah, bro, no, but like the body, we're getting old. That's what it is, bro. We're getting old.
The ages for real. Like when people talk about that, I feel it now too. Like I was like, yo, why does my back just hurt? Like I didn't do anything. Like I'm sitting there doing a 20-minute back stretch just to
Word.
get it to
Yeah,
not
yeah.
feel like I'm 70.
Do you work out like
I
gym
no
wise, lift, strength training,
no. I
anything?
want to. I broke my the ulna, which is like a bone in your elbow that allows you to do this. I fractured it 2 months ago, so I'm just now starting to be able to do push-ups again.
Oh, how did you break it?
Playing football,
Oh, flag. You do.
yeah,
Yeah,
playing
you do
flag
flag.
football,
Okay.
just trying to come over the top and help. And the way we fell, man, I extended my arm out like this, and that shit just kept going. And
Oh man.
yeah, it was pretty rough. So I'm just now starting to get back into like re-strengthening the body, but I've always done like stretching and yoga. Like that's been something I've been like
Yeah.
fairly consistent at. I might take a couple days in between, but
No,
I'm doing it on a weekly basis. This is something that I do. So I stay limber, but it strengthen. I just
no.
stay in shape and run around and
Yeah, I mean, yoga is really not a joke. Like yoga is
that's just
really
legit,
good, and
bro.
it's tough,
Yeah,
bro. I had the biggest misunderstanding about yoga like
that's
a
because you
couple
see
years back.
middle-aged white women or
Yeah,
older people
the
doing
people you
it.
see and the kind of movements that they're doing, you be like, that's easy. No, it's not,
Yeah,
bro. I
to
be trying to
balance your
do some of
body.
these poses and holds. There, so yoga is heavily isometric holds.
Okay.
So it means like what they do in yoga is like you do maybe they'll get you into a plank and you hold that for like a minute, two
Yeah,
minutes. Bro, it starts wearing you
that shit starts
down.
to burn, yo.
It's just a plank, but it's gonna wear you down.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I try to incorporate some yoga with like some of my recovery training and stuff like that. And yo, it's no joke, bro.
It's
I love
tough.
it though. It's good. It's
Yeah,
good. I was
it
gonna say keep doing it.
it
If that's your thing, that's what you like, for
that's
sure.
more so because like even in high school, bro, when they had all this for your love. A lack of motivation got me really considering quitting this, but it got a hold of me. I blame it on my penmanship. I heard a joke one time, and he said they never fear a man that knows 1,000 moves, but to fear the man that knows one move but practice it 1,000 times. In other words, rap doesn't excite me because I know it like it's the back of my hand. But fuck it, y'all don't want to hear me bend. I'll just get back to the plan. I've been nice, it's obvious. You can tell by the way I walk. I'm styling on these niggas, you can hear it in how I talk. A man with a plan, kill every nigga with guapo. Line them up just to lay him down. I'm the Gestapo, been giving the fans heat for years now. This shit's expected. You wanted bars and I gave you bars and you still neglected. That's cool, I'ma get it rock regardless. There's a reason nobody tests me. I'm not the one to spar with. The Joe Jackson of this rap shit. I treat opponents like my kids. You better believe they're getting their ass whipped. I ain't rich, but I'm successful. Check the lineage. I raised it up a couple of levels. Done with the penny biz. Let me stop. Hey.
The side over there by the door.
Oh,
They should have. I can maybe get into why it's not working. There you go. So
that's interesting.
they
You
should have
should
put
get
an aux sensor right
like
here in
around
the
here.
middle
Yeah,
to pick up the whole movement.
you got to
But
put in more
they
than
were
one.
being cheap, right? And they did the aux sensor on the switch. That's what the problem is. I actually this is kind of what we do. I might like what is this kind of what I do.
Mhm.
We design places like these in terms of when it comes to like so I'm an electrical designer.
Okay.
We'll do like the lighting, the power, and just power everything up
So
in
you
terms
know
of
these motherfuckers is being
yeah.
cheap.
So like when
Call it
The
out,
first time
Abu.
I was here and I noticed the light went off, I'm like, they were just being cheap. Because even us, like, we get comments sometimes from owners or whatever, or the architect.
Mhm.
They would be like, "Oh, remove the ceiling aux sensor and just give us a switch aux sensor."
Okay.
But the switch aux sensor is limited in range. It only picks up what's in front of it. And look how the room is shaped, right? It's like a little
It's
L,
an L, yeah.
right? So that sensor is only picking up movements, kind of like over there,
Yeah.
and nothing back here. So, anyways,
He sounds fed
let's
up.
yo let's start the episode. I don't wanna hold you too long.
Nah, you good, you
We're
good,
kind
you
of like
good.
5 minutes into rumbling there, but it was good stuff. So the title for today's video is gonna be "Inside the Secret World of Underground Hip Hop." Okay.
Ooh.
That's what I'm planning on naming it.
Okay.
So this is Erod. That's his rapper's name. So Erod, we're gonna get a little bit into your background first
Okay.
before we kind of move into the other topics.
Mm-hmm.
The other topics we're gonna probably cover is breaking down the genius of hip hop lyrics. Then we're gonna talk about the evolution of hip hop beats, and then we'll talk about like the secrets behind viral hip hop songs, and then we'll do like fashion, the trends, and like the fashion in hip hop and how hip hop reshapes fashion.
Everybody's wearing dresses now. No.
We can talk about that. We'll
That's
get into
definitely
that.
you have to talk about it because
We
it is
will,
it
we
is a
will, we
part
will.
of this,
And then
this culture now.
we'll deep dive into like how the hip hop politic influence,
Okay.
and then that will be it. We'll just wrap it up from there. But let's start
I
with your
can't wait to
background.
see how you go through these segments. It's a lot of damn segments for an hour.
Yeah, we're I mean, we'll see. It doesn't. We'll see. Whatever.
Whatever
we
gets
work
hit,
with.
gets
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, yeah.
It's
We'll
gonna be
see.
it's gonna be a good
You're the
conversation.
expert. You know what I mean?
I'm the expert.
You're the expert in this field. So
I like to think
I took time coming up with some of these questions. I wanted them to be like refreshing and like new. Not like kind of some of what these guys talk about, like
yeah, you
what
hear
they
like a
were-
sway in the morning or
yeah.
some shit.
I mean, Sway is cool, but like guys like DJ Academics, their nonsense that they
Oh
tend
yeah,
to put
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Joe Budden or whatever. I don't like how he came out D1.
That was unnecessary.
That was corny, bro.
That was
mad whack.
unnecessary. Yeah.
Anyways, Joe Budden is not even a tough guy. Like, why is he even trying to
I love
put
this one.
himself in that?
I love this. I used to be a huge Joe Budden podcast fan.
Really?
Like when Rory and Maul, I listened to it as a truck driver. So like
all that got broken up. Though,
yeah, a couple years ago. And that's actually when I stopped being a fan of the show because like the dynamic of it changed. But I remember Joe Budden talking about this one time where he was talking shit about Raekwon from the Wu-Tang Clan, and they went to the same radio station. It might have been like 99.9 or some shit,
okay.
like something popular back in the early 2000s. And he gets on the elevator, and the hand stops the elevator, and guess who jumps on the elevator? Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan. nigga ended up in the same elevator with
That's
just him.
Hilarious.
And homeboy told her, and Raekwon told him like yo, stop running your mouth. And then he punched Joe in the eye, and Joe was like, that was the hardest I've ever been hit. He was like, I didn't say nothing after that. He was like, I stopped talking shit to people. And then to go back to what you just said, like I really feel like it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it was something that, like, if it was somebody like Raekwon, would you have said it?
I like D1 though. I like his message.
I do too.
And I mean, I don't listen to music that much, but I've been playing some of his stuff just to check him out.
I don't listen to the music. I'm not too big on just like his rap.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
I do like the message, and I like
sure, yeah.
I like what he stands for, and I support people based on that more so than just musical, because music is what we do, but music ain't just who we are.
Right.
You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah. It's bigger than music.
And I like the fact that even though he's a popular musician and artist, he can take the mask off from his artistry and be a person and talk about the shit that he disagrees with. And a lot of motherfuckers is afraid to mess up their money solely, so they won't say anything, and they'll actually push the issues within music and rap culture. And I like the fact that there's somebody else speaking out. But he's been getting a lot of shit, bro. Jim Jones came at him.
He's calling out people though. I mean,
Jim Jones came at him, told him don't mention my name.
They're not gonna do nothing.
Because somebody who loves me might hurt you.
They're not gonna do nothing. It's all talk.
I mean, I agree, because it's rap
all
music. But this is also the only culture out of any genre of music where the artists die.
True.
The only way you don't see it in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
country.
No, yeah. It
You know what I
happens
mean?
more in rap. Yeah.
It happens. I mean, if you think about any genre of music, a lot of the time, like they might die from like a drug overdose
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
a car accident or some wild shit. But it like we're the only genre of music where we actually kill each other. You know what I mean? And this has been something that's going
Ego,
on
bro.
for 30 years now,
Yeah.
easily. You know, so
Yeah, man. That's why we need change. That's why I like
fuck yeah.
D1's music, bro. I mean his message specifically.
Yeah, if you don't know who
But
D1 is, look him up on Instagram. That's where I follow him. D1 Music. Shout out to everything that he's doing out there,
word,
trying to clean up the culture and trying to hold people accountable
for sure.
for their message and their music. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I also like the fact that he's independent, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
another big thing I like to see in artists do, you know, and really everybody.
that's
Like own your own stuff.
I,
Own your own stuff. You know, that's
I think it's that that's the reason why he can do the things that he's
he's
doing at
doing.
this
Yeah,
moment
yeah.
because
He's not
even
being
he's
told.
popular already. So it isn't about the fact that can he build a fan base, but he also has nobody behind the strings pulling the
Yep,
strings.
yep,
I mean,
yep.
behind the scene pulling the strings.
Tell him, oh, you can't talk
You
about
can't say
that.
yeah.
Oh, that's too positive
Yep,
of you.
yep,
You can't
yep,
talk about that.
yep. This
You know what
isn't
I'm
gonna
saying?
sell. This
Yeah,
isn't gonna
yeah,
sell.
yeah.
Nobody's
No,
gonna
yeah,
buy
yeah.
this. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? There's nothing mainstream about it. And you know, and that's also why people gravitate to it because people are getting sick and tired of mainstream.
Yeah,
Like even
it's
if it doesn't seem that way, people
no, it
are.
really is. I mean, I think I'm taking notice too. Like nobody wants to hear about people killing each other
Yeah.
anymore. Like we're
It,
tired of it. Everybody's
it's
tired
a
of it.
different
It's
world.
ridiculous.
And then you look at like the most famous rappers and like the most famous artists today. You think about Drake, or you think about J. Cole, or you think about Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
These
the
aren't
big
artists
three.
that push we
Yeah,
kill people.
exactly. Yep.
Their music comes with message,
Right.
but they're also the most popular
Popular.
rappers
Exactly.
on
Yep. Yep.
right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What is that to say? That says that you don't necessarily need
To promote death.
to rap
Yeah.
about that to be popular.
You don't.
You don't.
Yeah.
It's y'all just are more concerned with your dollars opposed to what you're actually going to be leaving behind, because that's what it is. It's a legacy, and people are going to be able to take whatever you make over the span that you make it for and go back and listen to it and really digest what you're putting out there. And we've seen rappers music change like over the years, not even just rappers, just artists. You know what I mean?
Right.
People
Right.
feel different about their music years later,
For sure.
you know. So
Eric, so let's take a deep dive into your childhood. Can you give us some information about your childhood and like how you grew up? Just share with us kind of anything about yourself that you were like.
shit. So I'm born and raised in the city right now, like in Allentown, city that I live in right now. Where
You're
we at?
homegrown.
Yeah, homegrown. I grew up with just my mom. Had a lot of like boyfriends coming in and out of the picture. Um, it was I had an abusive childhood, bro. Like that's probably the easiest way I could say it.
You
I
mean
had
in terms of your environment?
in terms of my environment, in terms of like just people actually like abusing, you know what I mean? Things like that.
Physically,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Like boyfriends between us, my mom, shit like that. So like the environment I grew up in was like it was shaky foundation. We moved around a lot. I went to 3 different elementary schools, 2 different middle schools. I finished out at one high school, but you know what I mean, Allen is Allen. You know, once you
Yeah.
get up there, you're gonna meet a bunch of characters, and you could fall into any group. You know,
There are a lot of characters.
it's a whole lot of
Everybody,
characters, bro.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
we had this one spot called the tunnel, and you were liable to see anything in the tunnel. You know, you remember the tunnel right by the fucking library?
I remember the tunnel.
I've seen fights break out in there. People get stabbed, drug deals from even security officers selling bud in the school. Like, I've seen some wild shit in the tunnel, bro.
We don't want to talk about the security
Yeah,
guards
right.
at Allen, bro. Bro,
But-
I've heard of a story, and I know I definitely confirm my boy. The girl he was dating, right? Like after she was she was a senior, but still, after she was graduating high school,
Mhm.
like one of the security guards that asked like wanted to exchange numbers.
Oh, trying back.
Yeah. And I don't know exactly what happened, but he ended up like they ended up exchanging numbers somehow. I don't know if he went a creepy way about it of like, oh, can I use your phone type thing? But
Nigga.
she said from what she shared with my boy, the security guard actually contacted her.
Yeah.
Like after, you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
That is crazy. Like how you see
That's the kind of shit that's
how you
going
watch
on, bro.
kids grow up and then it's like,
You,
yeah, I'm waiting
as soon as you
18.
get out of
Your ass
school,
is
you
mine. But yeah, so I moved around a lot as a
but
kid. You know, that was to my benefit and my detriment at the same time because it gave me an opportunity to like meet a lot of different people, build a lot of different relationships and cultivate them over the years, um, and all those different things. Uh, but my mom was a huge music fan growing up.
oh yeah.
Every time we got to clean up the house, you're listening to Mary J. Blige, you're listening to Drew Hill, you're listening to Tupac, you're listening to Biggie. So like, I was always well versed in music because of what I heard as a child, like on a daily and weekly basis. And then like just having like the rough part of my childhood, and then not necessarily being in a space where that shit's really recognized like in the black community. It's just now being recognized that like what we do to black boys and black men, you know what I mean? That's something that I see changing at this moment and has been changing little by little over the past couple years. But when I was a kid, when we were kids, we weren't allowed to cry, you know what I mean? A lot of the time you were chastised for crying, a lot of the time you
Yeah.
were chastising for showing your emotions, and things like that. Like I got a great example. The first fight I ever got into, I was about 6, 7 years old. And I used to go to the school, Washington Elementary.
Okay.
I'm sitting in a parking lot. Now it's a parking lot, but it was actually a playground, and it had
Okay.
a cement part in the middle, and it was two grass like big ass rectangles of
Mhm.
grass, on the sides, and they had trees on the outside of the gate, so the leaves used to always fall inside
Okay.
the gate. So one day I'm in there, I'm trying to make my own pile of leaves, and some older kid had some big ass pile of leaves. It was like 3 feet high worth of leaves. He was like, "Yo, little man, you could play in my leaves." I was like, "Oh, cool." So he leave the park. I start playing in the leaves. I'm jumping in a pile, and a couple minutes later, kid came back. He said, "The fuck you doing to my leaves?"
The same kid?
Same kid. I'm like, "You told me I could play in them." No, I didn't. He punched me in my eye. So I lived around the corner from Washington Elementary. So nigga, I ran home, nigga. I never got punched in the eye before. I ran all the way home, bro. I'm crying. Some kid punched me in the eye. Now my house was like a community center when I was a kid. My mom always had people in the house. All her friends, even if my mom wasn't in the house, her friends would be waiting for her there. Like if my mom had to run to the store, she wouldn't send nobody to the store. She would go to the store and all her friends would still be in the house. So like my house was like a party house, even
Yeah.
up until like high school years. So I run in the house and there's a bunch of people in the house. There's at least eight people in that house, like between adults. I'm like, "Oh, some kid punched me in the eye." She's like, "What did you do about it?" I said, "Nothing. I came home." Like,
I'm telling you
I'm
about
telling
it."
you, I don't know what to do. So she's like, "We going back, and you're gonna fuck him up." And my
Word.
sister, I got a sister that's 4 years older than me. Now my sister was like a second mom to us. So like she was very hardened, like even as a teenager, like she didn't play no shit. When
Mm.
mom wasn't around,
Like
she
was
ran a
the
tight
mom.
ship.
Yeah.
And so but she was also young enough to where like her and I could actually have a relationship. So she's like, "When I go back, I'm gonna get him first, but then you're gonna fuck him up. You're gonna finish him off." And I'm like, "Okay." I'm still holding my okay. So we get back to the park, and my sister goes, "You punched my little brother in the face?" He's like, "Yeah, he was playing in my leaves." I said, "You let me play in the leaves." He said,
Yeah.
"No, the fuck I didn't." I don't know how old this kid was, but he didn't seem like he was that much. He might have been like 9, 10 years old. But this motherfucker was cursing like that shit was like just blowing my mind. So my sister walks up on him and she grabs him by his shirt and she clips him. And so homeboy's
foot
on his
sweep.
the leg
Foot
sweep,
dude.
bro. So he's on the floor, he's on his ass, and he's like crawling backwards on his hands and feet trying to get back up. And the entire time, my sister's kicking his leg out from underneath him, and she's like, "Fuck him up, Eric, get on top of him and fuck." I'm like, "I don't want to hit him." So ultimately, a couple minutes after that, bro, my sister put a couple punches on him, and then she hung him from the gate.
Mm.
And at Washington, there's these metal bars, and they come into like a point. So she hung this nigga from the gate, and then she walked, and then we left the park. And when I got home, I got my ass whooped.
Because you didn't.
Because
So you
because
didn't actually hit the kid at
I
all.
didn't hit him. I didn't want to fight,
Yeah.
and I got beat for not wanting to fight.
It's all right.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
and
yeah.
and but like that's like a great example of like like things that I had to deal with. I had to be somebody in moments that that's just not who I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was faced with that a lot, like as a kid, being put in situations that was just like very uncomfortable for me. But like you have to learn to navigate it with all the moving and all these things that were so uncertain in my life.
Or,
Music became that one place where I could be like, okay, I have somewhere to put all of this pain and anger and trauma and my experience.
yeah. So since you brought it up, let's segment into how did you get into music? Um,
I would say that there was only a couple of things that ever really came easy to me in my life. It was playing sports, mainly football.
okay.
But just being active. My mom was one of those parents where it's like, do your homework and get the fuck out the house. Like, I don't want to see your face. Every time you're in the house is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, like in terms of making like your first music, because I remember I think we were in high school when you shared.
It was two choices.
Or published like one of your first songs.
Or was
like,
it Stay Scheming? One of those two. Two Choices was the first music video I've ever shot. I'll never forget it. We shot the video with an iPhone.
Okay.
And you know how like you can put it in landscape or you can go the vertical. We shot the whole video in vertical. And I don't know why I thought
vertical wasn't a thing back then.
No. Like, I mean, still like, because it wasn't like the way social media is today. Like today, when you get on, most of the videos are like for reels
landscape,
and shorts, all those type of things.
Well, those are vertical now.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Okay.
But at the time, everybody shot music videos. Like you can do like music videos in vertical now. Like it would just be just for social media.
It would be, yeah.
But everybody shot official music videos in landscape, so sideways.
For sure, yeah.
But I shot the first music video upright. So on this video, it fucking like it was a full music video. But I just thought it was like I was like, wow, I had no clue what I was doing. Like I just really wanted to put this out.
Like just friends.
My wife used to shoot all my music videos when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
And then like the more like I stayed in rapping, I got to meet other videographers. Shout out to like Sticky Money, Angel O'Hare.
Sticky Money been around for a long time.
Yeah, so
and he has like his own production as well. Yeah.
I just had him on my podcast a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But I started to meet these guys, and then I was having other people that were actually like doing this like as a profession, start to be able to shoot the music videos. Not only that, I learned how to do it myself, and I got better with it. But music and football were pretty much the only things that ever came effortless. When I got to high school and I realized like.
So were you, when you say that though, were you like say, okay, I know you were playing football from young. From
7 years old, 7 years old.
So are you saying you were also writing music, say on your free time?
Nah,
or were you practicing
but
rapping?
the passion, like the love for music, was ingrained
just being
in me.
Involved in the world of listening,
being able to recite music.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
No
memorizing
cadence,
different songs.
Yeah, all those things. And then when I got to high school, and
keep going. I'm just gonna check on the video real quick.
Okay,
keep going.
When I got to high school, I realized, oh shit, I'm gonna be small. So as I'm going through high school and everything, and I'm starting to see that all the other players like yourself, you know what I mean, are much bigger than I am, much stronger than I am, and what it actually takes to go play Division I football to even have a chance of going to the NFL. I realized my chances were getting slimmer and slimmer by the day. So I was like, okay, I got to find something else to put this into, like all this energy and everything like that.
Wow. So did you really thought about it? You really thought about like say the future from like really at that age like that?
Yeah. If
I wasn't thinking,
bro, my entire life, I had one dream, one goal was to go play football in the NFL.
Oh.
That was it. But naturally, you're gonna go up against kids that are the same age as you, but just have a total different skill set and just naturally gifted. Like I remember, like one of the first times was that I realized like that the likelihood of that was slim to none. Was when Joe Webb, not Joe Webb. He came from Emmaus.
Oh yeah.
Joe, I forget his last name. I
forgot his last name too.
But he came from Emmaus. He played for Allen for a little bit, and he went back to Emmaus.
I know you're talking about that, Joe.
But that was the first
Joe
time. Yeah, but that was the first time I had realized like what it's actually going to take to be like a Division I athlete.
Yeah.
And I think that was what, my freshman year or my sophomore. I think that was freshman year, honestly. But just seeing where he was only 2 years older than us, and just seeing how massive he was, I was like, okay, this is this is gonna be a daunting task if I'm gonna have to grow like 6 more inches. My mom's only like 5'2", my dad's like 5'7". You know what I mean? Like it really started to kick in, and I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? And that was pretty much like where I was like starting to really try to figure out what else
So
do I
you,
like.
yeah, okay,
And then music was one of those things that was always just like always prevalent.
yeah,
And I found myself just like writing little freestyles in the house, and then I was recording them like on like my phone, and they sound like shit, but I like to listen to them. And then it gets to the point where it's like I think it's 11th grade where I dropped my first music video, which was
okay,
Two Choices. And and it changed from there because when I went back to school and everybody started to see the videos, that's when I started to like get notoriety, and I was like, okay, this is actually might be something I'm able to do.
yeah, that
Not
you're
only
good
do I
at
love
too.
to do this, people are listening to it.
So
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And I'm
that's what's
coming to
up.
school and people are asking me to rap and shit like that. And then yeah, it just continued from there.
Word.
So
Um, yeah. Speaking about say your music, like when you were in high school, when you were putting that out, you were. I think you were like. I mean, obviously, like I noticed you got better as
be
you.
honest.
No. No. Okay, you were all right when you first started, but
Oh
you
yeah.
got better. Like really, you improved a lot as you moved on.
Yeah, the progression.
Yeah, as you
I had
went.
more shit to rap about. I
In
changed.
terms of too, like say you flowing with the beat that you're using,
Yeah.
like in that kind of sense. Because when I'm listening, that's kind of sometimes you notice that in like new artists, like they be lagging or they're
Yeah, they're a
off
little
beat a
offbeat.
little
Yeah.
bit. Or like I noticed how like you progressed really fast and like really got good. I got an I'm like, yo, Eric sounds really good. Like, oh snap,
I
yo,
I just I always wanted to be recognized for like my ability to just rap.
yeah.
Um and I was always like one of those people that I could just rap for a whole 2-3 minutes, but like I couldn't put like songs together. Like it was very complicated for me
How
to put
hard is
like
it to put to
good.
like line it up with the beat? Like
It's actually really easy.
it is
Like if
easy.
if you
Okay.
can if you can count like cadence, like or beats,
Yeah.
like 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can catch like the BPM on it, it's very easy, especially like after doing it for so
But when
long.
when you first start, is that something
It
like
was it was
were you not paying attention to it, or was it something you just you had to like learn
I
to
w-
to
I thought it always came easy even when I was younger. My biggest problem is when I was younger, I didn't know how to flow as well. So I would try to like if I was like trying to say like I'm tired of people killing each other over nothing, like if I had like a beat that was a little bit faster, I would still try to squeeze all those words in that one
no?
line,
Okay.
and then it might knock it off, like it might knock the flow off just a little bit, and then I would shorten the second line to like make up for the overextended line above it. And that was something that I realized where it's like I don't have to say everything for everybody to get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I can say it in less words. And that was just something that I learned over the years where it's like I can breathe in the middle of songs. I don't have to give them 32 bars in order to get my message across. It just what I have to say in this 16 has to be powerful enough to
Right.
not need 32. And that was more like that was like a challenge for myself where it's like I have something that I want to say and just trying to find the best delivery to say it. That was always like my biggest thing. And I feel like honestly, I think that I progressed a lot over the years since 16 to now of being a rapper and a
Yeah.
musician. But I think now is where like it finally all came together. Like at this
Word.
point that I'm
Let's
at
let's
now.
let's let's hold that. We're definitely gonna get into that later in the other sections, but let's kind of wrap up this introduction. Can you briefly give us some information about the rise of like say the underground hip hop culture? Since you listened to so much music
Are we
when
are
you
we
were
talking
younger.
about are we talking about like underground hip hop like back in the day underground hip hop? Like were you
The
talking
the
about like
whole like
are you talking about
so
like
to
today's
me when I
underground hip
think
hop?
all right, let me maybe define it. What I'm talking about underground hip hop, I consider underground hip hop um different from mainstream. Like people who are not signed yet, kind of like how a lot of people start. Kind of
Okay.
like how you start, yeah, and a lot of people start like that. Like how like Mick Mills, right?
Okay.
Like I considered him, he was underground before he got signed with Rick Ross. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I mean. But also too, like with the Wu Tang Clan, do you guys we You consider that
So
underground
you
as
so
well,
you're
right? Or
yeah
no?
you're talking about like before they get put
Before
on,
exactly
before they
before
get
they
put
sign a
on.
big deal. Yeah,
Okay.
like that world. Were you was that like a world you were into or no
Um,
when you were listening to music?
I mean, I would have rappers that are less mainstream than others.
Say that again.
But
Sorry.
like I said, I would always listen to rappers that were less mainstream than others. Like a big one for me when I was younger was Big L. I'm not sure if you know
Okay.
who
Yeah.
Big
Yeah. I
L
know
is.
Big L. Yeah. Yeah.
But I was a Big L fan. Like the first time I heard him. Um, but he wasn't as popular as somebody is like uh like a Tupac. You know what I
He
mean?
never went mainstream.
No, and
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he died, and then
Right.
he was murdered before like he really got a chance to like blow up.
Yeah.
But it's things like that, or like your Big Puns. Like everybody knows
Yeah.
who Big Pun is, but Big Pun isn't like Fat Joe. Fat Joe was mainstream.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like so, like somebody like when I say like when I think of underground hip hop, I'm kind of saying it from like places of that, like where these artists are known and they're
Yeah.
very popular, and and some of them are like fucking idolized.
Legends, really.
Yeah,
Yeah. Big L
legends.
is a legend. You know,
But like
in a
a
lot of
lot,
people's eyes, I would say.
yeah,
But
yeah. I was especially as a lyricist, just being
yeah.
for
Right.
his
Yeah.
rapping ability. But when you think of like longevity, the amount of work he was able to put out, no, you know what I mean. It was all cut too short. Um, but I think underground hip hop has a role in every generation of music, and it's solely because you get something from underground hip hop that you do not get from mainstream,
Okay.
which is when you get to mainstream, you got all these people in endorsements that you got to protect. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake wasn't allowed to say certain things back in 2010 when he had a Sprite deal. Why? Because he not only represents Drake in his record label, but he also represents Sprite. You know what I'm saying? So he's not going to be able to say certain things, like if they go to the club and they fuck 18-year-old girls, he's not going to be able to say that because that will be frowned upon to most people that are in their 30s fucking chasing 18-year-old girls. So there's certain things that like people rappers cannot say. But underground hip hop, you don't have those handcuffs. You could say,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
say whatever you need to say. You say whatever you feel you need to say. You
Yeah.
can even call out motherfuckers if you want.
True.
And that's the one thing that like I've always loved like about underground hip hop, because hip hop is spirited in competition. It's just like sports. You know what I'm saying? Like
The
like
battle raps that
battle
would be
rap.
sending
You
each
know what I'm
other.
saying? Like that's how it starts out. That's how it always starts out. And I feel like when you leave this era of underground hip hop, or what they would label as underground hip hop, to mainstream hip hop, you don't necessarily see that. Like if you think about it, like when was like the last time like hip hop really had um like battles, like where it felt like hip hop? I would say maybe like the Meek Mill and Drake
And Drake. Yeah. Yeah.
issue,
Yeah.
or like Eminem and MGK a couple years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
where
Yeah. Yeah.
where all these people are like they're not beefing, but they're beefing. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that drives fan. Like think about everybody was rushing to go find Duppy when it dropped, or everybody was going to find Killshot when it dropped. And it's just like I want to hear what these dudes
What they
got to
say,
say
yeah,
about
right.
each
The
other. You
response,
know what I'm
right?
saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
how are they gonna come at each other? Like I think we lose that when we get too commercialized, and we lose the roots of underground hip
Yeah.
hop
Up on the
in
ground hip
in
hop.
in the sport. Because that's what it is, bro. It's
Interesting.
like people come out in a lyrical spar.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we also live in an era today where it's like, oh, don't say my name in a song, or
Yeah. Yeah.
and back to the
And Drake.
D1 thing.
Yeah.
You can't say nothing to nobody. You can't be accountable because people feel away. They feel like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
taking a shot at like their manhood and shit like that.
Yeah, but it's rewarding for a lot of, especially like somebody like D1, is rewarding for him to actually call out some of these people. I mean, even Rick Ross said it in his video. He was like, "Oh, you're only getting attention because you're using our name." You know?
Yeah, you know,
So it is actually beneficial, but it depends how you go about it.
yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, Rick, you can say that he's getting more notoriety because he's mentioning other people's names, artists that are bigger than him.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it shouldn't necessarily change anything because his message has been the same.
yeah,
When the
no, for sure.
message changes, that's when you think that's when you can say, "Oh, somebody's cloud chasing." That's how I would gauge it, in my opinion. Like if you're doing something just because you know people are gonna watch, it's different. But he raps in his music about hip hop glorifying killing each other
Yeah,
or
yeah.
selling drugs to
And
each
he's
other.
just calling out the
And
characters.
now he's
who are-
calling
who
and
are
now he's
doing it,
calling
yeah.
out the dealers
Yeah,
of
exactly.
who's
Yeah,
of
yeah,
who's
yeah.
in like distributing this shit.
Yeah, he should.
Essentially.
He should call them out, and like if we look at Drake too, Drake don't call out people's name, but he throws a
he
lot.
sent mad shots.
Yeah,
He's the
he be
petty
setting
king.
mad,
He's petty
he
as
be
fuck.
sending mad shots to people. But and then you kind of have to put it together or who he's
Yeah.
talking about.
He had me
and
doing
stuff like
research
that.
on one of his songs, like on his new album. What was it, For All the Dogs?
Yeah,
On this one song he got with 21 Savage, there's this girl complaining that like, oh, he flew me out, but he put me in coach. He put me in like not coach, in like the regular section of the plane.
Yeah.
And he
Not
told me
not first class, but economy.
yeah, economy. He put me in economy. He told me there was no first class seats. So I logged on and I seen there was like 13 first class seats. And she's like, in this whack ass vacation he took me on, he had us eating jerk chicken and oxtail every day. And
He
she's
had
like,
that in the
yeah,
song?
yeah.
The
It's
clip?
bro, it's
That's
fucking
funny.
hilarious. She was like, the oxtail was good, but still, who wants to eat that every day? And you know, I like Drake, man.
love oxtail.
Yeah, oxtail's banging, bro.
talking about?
Yeah, right.
You should have took out a McDonald's.
Yeah, right. Ungrateful ass, bro. My son was sitting in the back seat when I was listening to this album, and he was like, "What? She sounds ungrateful." My son's 9 years old, and he could spot that
Picking
shit.
game,
Yeah, I
bro.
was
He's
like,
picking up game.
yo, it's
That's
funny as
lit. That's
fuck.
lit.
I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. It does. And I'm happy that you actually defined underground hip hop for us, and so I'm sure the viewers would follow with that.
But there's also a lot of other underground hip hop artists that just never make it mainstream as mainstream. Like we got one around here who's like a local legend who's actually pretty popular, like Tug McGraw, King Magnetic. You get artists like them. I'm trying to jog like right off the top of my head. Who else? That's like underground. Damn, I'm drawing blanks right now.
It's all good.
But yeah,
Take your time. bro.
underground hip hop is something that should be in every era of hip hop because it's the foundation of hip hop. This was something that was built out of sport and out of camaraderie and being able to see who can rhyme the best, who can flow the best. I think we can't lose that spirit.
Sure.
I think we've lost that spirit, which is why we see people dying at the hands of music.
Mhm.
But I don't think we should lose that spirit. And I think that this is something that people could not want to be a part of at some point because of what we keep doing to our favorite artists.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking about underground hip hop, and this, I guess this will be so once in a while, I still sometimes like going back and like just searching like Philly artists.
Okay.
Like
Petey Crack.
I like a lot of guys from Philly who like I like their freestyles. Like I think a lot of good freestyle artists really come out of Philly.
You know,
And
my favorite
that's
one is
how
Reed Dollars.
Reed Dollars, yeah,
Reed Dollars
he's
my
a
favorite
classic,
one.
yeah, for real. But that's how I kind of found out about Meek Mill. Like I know about Meek Mill when he was dropping, like before he even dropped Flamers, and like those were his first mixtapes.
with the ugly braids.
Yeah. Like for real. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The person who really put me on was Jalen Cannon.
Yeah.
He came.
Big
over,
shout out to Jalen Cannon.
Yeah, he came over at the crib. We were all chilling in the basement and all that. And he was like, "Oh, did y'all hear about this? Do you guys listen to this kid? His name is Meek Mill, blah blah blah." And then he also told us about Drake the same day.
Oh shit!
So that's how
my man came and put y'all on.
Yo, for real. and then what's crazy is those were like the two biggest artists for like the next 10 years or whatever.
Right.
From since we were like in high school. That was
Damn,
crazy.
you got put on early.
Yeah, Jalen was like somehow he knew about these guys. Like
I remember once
Like-
I had a conversation with somebody in high school. I don't even remember who it was. And you remember Vado, the rapper Vado? He rapped. I believe he came from like Dipset. I think he was like a branch off of Dipset.
Oh, I think you're talking about like somebody locally.
Nah.
Oh yeah, I think I know you're talking about. Yeah.
But I remember like Vado was pretty popular like when we were in high school because his name was like starting to build. And then one dude was like, I asked him what he was listening to or some shit, and he's like Vado. I was like Vado. He's like, nigga, I'll make him your favorite rapper. And that was the last time I've ever heard of Vado. But like I had a couple songs of him. I don't even know why I mentioned him. There was a point. But like that's another like artist I would say like is like maybe underground hip hop at this point. Because I know he's still active rapping, but yeah, he's still active, but he don't have the backing like he used to, like 10 years ago. You know, shit like that. So
So let's segment into the next section here. So I want to talk about here like these three next points. I want to try to break down the genius of hip hop lyrics specifically.
Ooh.
So let's start with like explain the complexity, depth behind iconic hip hop lyrics for us.
The complexity, what?
The complexity
Okay.
and depth behind, like the stuff that goes into the hip hop
I
lyrics.
when I think of like lyrics that sit with me,
Hmm.
they're not that complex. They're not that complex. Like right off the back, like a Tupac's "Dear Mama." You
Okay.
know what I mean? Those lyrics aren't very complex to understand, but it becomes
in,
complex
in,
in
in terms of like creating it,
yeah
like
yeah
from a
yeah.
creator stand,
I,
like from a creator standpoint.
yeah. So, but I think the complexity comes in when you can truly captivate an experience, or like when he describes like, and even though you was a crack fiend, mama, you always been a black queen, mama.
Mama.
Like despite the fact that she's a drug addict and he knows his mother's using drugs, like the love that she showed to him and she gave to him, it never wavered. He
Yeah.
never felt unloved. He never felt like, oh, even though she's doing these things, she doesn't love me enough not to do these things. She still showed up, even though she still made miracles every Thanksgiving. Like, you know what I mean? They didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, but she still bent over backwards to make sure they had something. So I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think like that the lyrics are like totally complex, but I think the complexity comes in when you really get to sit back, digest what these artists are saying and why they're saying what they're saying. You know,
Okay.
it's very easy for people to bob their head to dope beats and, you know what I mean, crazy
Yeah.
bass, but like, you know, even the other one, and we'll go back to Meek Mill from fucking what is it, Dreams and Nightmares.
Right.
How does the intro start? I can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Um.
Hold up,
Um.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
For
Hold
that
up.
one.
Wait a minute. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought it was
but
finished.
it's the intro before the beat drops because that's when the song goes crazy. But I used to rhyme like this,
Oh yeah.
times like this,
Yeah.
rhyme
Yeah.
like this, and I had to grind like this to shine like this. In a
Right.
matter
Right.
of times I spent on some locked up shit in the back of the paddy
Right.
wagon, cuffs locked on wrist. He's telling, like, we love to rap that part, but he's really telling, like, I was sitting in paddy wagons. I was locked up, hands, my
Yeah.
cuffs on wrist. See my nightmares unfold and my dreams come true. I was time to marry the game. So like he's now telling you, I gotta come through, and I'm faced with a decision as I'm sitting in this jail cell. I gotta either choose rap or I gotta choose street, but I cannot have them both. You
Yeah.
know, and
So I understand the message, right? And
I think that's where the
it's definitely
complexity comes
heading,
from.
but don't you think it's complex to like put to tell your story in just kind of those few lines, make it rhyme, right? You have to make it rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're hoping that it sounds hot to other people, right? Well, you not really hope, you want it to sound hot, because if it's not hot, nobody's gonna
Nobody,
listen.
yeah.
So like all those variables playing in with you telling your story, and you trying to like compact your
All
whole
of it
life, like or
into this
whatever,
verse.
into, yeah,
So
that's not complex at all in
I
terms
think,
of writing it.
see, I'll say it like this. You ever heard that saying where it's like, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life? I can say from somebody who when I close my eyes and I'm creating at home and I close my eyes, I can see myself standing in front of thousands of people
Mm.
without them being there, and I smile at home because it's a feeling that I already have. I've never experienced, the most people I've ever performed in front of was about 200, 300 people.
Okay.
That was the most.
Were you scared?
You always have nerves. You
True,
always have
yeah.
nerves, but it's not a fear thing. It's more like I want this to go
That's kind of
well.
what you wanted, I think. Like from
Yeah,
your vision,
yeah.
you kind of saw that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when I would play football, and like even though Allen didn't have the biggest crowds, there would always be at least
Yeah, people in the
100,
stands. Yeah,
150 people up there. Even if it was from the other team, there'd always
true.
be
Yeah,
people
yeah,
there.
yeah.
And I've always like, and I would walk out and I would always be nervous, get the bubble guts. But it's a feeling that you get where it's like, I'm meant to be here. I'm meant to do this. So when you're thinking about, when you're hearing beats and you're trying to figure out what you want to write about and put a message to the song, you're not thinking about all these variables. You're thinking about, how can I just get this out of me? Because it's an outlet. It's a creative outlet. The same way painters paint and the same way sculptors sculpt, it's the same way that we create music. The word flow, it flows through us. It doesn't come out of us. It flows through us. You know what I'm saying? Like if people that are passionate about lifting weights, they don't just go in there just so they can look good, but they love to lift. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So
They
you're saying
push themselves.
it comes natural if
It
you
comes
love it.
natural,
It just
yeah,
comes natural.
and it doesn't feel like work. I don't sit
Word.
there when I'm trying to figure out how to put words together. I don't sit there. I'm like, okay, this rhymes, but will people listen to it? This rhymes. Does it sound good on the beat? This
Yeah.
rhymes. Like I don't think about none of that. I'm just rapping, and then it's kind of like when you paint and you're painting right here, and you're like, this kind of looks weird. This eye looks a little slanted, and then you take a step back, and you're like, no, that actually looks really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Interesting.
That's kind of what you have to do as an artist. And I found myself at times where it's like where I create something and I'm like, oh, this could sound like a little bit more like this, or I want to change that word to this. But the more you do that, the further away you are from actually giving it to the world and sharing it with people.
Yeah.
So it's less about that. There's like some parts are going to always be better than others. Some songs are going to be better than others. The important thing is, are you getting the message out? And that's where I go back to where I was saying where I would always I would do sometimes too much when I was younger of trying to just fit so many words so I can get the full message. And I don't need to put in 15 words. I can say it in 9.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it'll vibe a little bit better. So when you sitting in the paddy wagon, cuffs locked on wrist, I'm telling you, I was locked up, nigga.
Yeah.
I was sitting in the back of a paddy wagon. But see,
But even to your point though, it does take time, say, to refine and to be able to really put less words but make them so impactful, like on a verse. Like, it does take time from your story and what you're trying to.
I think it takes time. Like if like you're a perfectionist. One of the things I do now that I didn't do before I would put on beats, I would loop them, I would just keep them on replay, and I would rap and I would write.
Okay.
Now I have a different creative process
Method.
where I put on beats, I put on my computer, and I'll freestyle, and I'll do that, and I'll still loop the beats, and I'll go back, but I will catch the melody that I want. I will catch the theme of the song that I'm trying to do. Sometimes I'll create the hook. Sometimes I'll create the whole motherfucking song in a freestyle, and I will go back and I'll listen to the freestyle, and I'll change out certain words to fit whatever message I'm trying to push.
Yeah.
And that's something that flows through me. It isn't something that I have to sit there and I have to take 2 weeks to jot down and put all together. This is something that goes over like a span of 1 or 2 hours.
How easy is it to like do a freestyle and then take that freestyle and just lay it on top of a beat that you weren't listening to when you were freestyling?
It's funny. Macville was talking about this yesterday because we played a song and J. Cole made a song called a letter to Summer Walker. I fuck with that. Let Nas Down. You're talking about Let Nas Down.
I thought that's what you were going to do. Okay.
But he made a song this past year called Letter to Summer Walker, and the beat's like doom 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 doom. But the beat we had put on from some dude who made a different total beat, it kind of gave me that feeling of that song, A Letter from Summer Walker. So I took this freestyle that I had to A Letter from Summer Walker, and I put it onto this beat. And it's to me, it's very easy. Mac was saying he's like, yo, how do you do that? And I'm like, essentially, something in that beat makes me think of this song that I wrote to this beat. And if they have somewhat of a same cadence, like doom 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 doom, so they might be on the same BPM. They might sound different, but they both might be at 76 beats per minute. I can just flip. I can just take it. I just have to just restructure it just a little bit. I might have to come in at a different bar than I would on that song. So to me, it's not that complicated.
So it is possible, but the beat and your flow kind of had to match for you to make it work.
No, I wouldn't say they have to match. I would have to say
you can pick a random beat and just throw it on your freestyle.
In many cases, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Depending on like if the BPM, like if I write a song that's really slow to like something that's an R&B beat, I might not be able to put it on something that might be like a Meek Mill beat. Because like it just, I would have to rap it so fucking fast.
Yeah, he raps fast. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I might not,
fast, but yeah.
or I might not have enough syllables in each bar. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying, or something like that. Like I don't know.
That's something I'm trying to learn.
It's honestly,
that when it comes to that,
I think I was truly put here to not only write but to create. And music is one of those things. So something that like it's kind of like asking somebody, hey, how do you play the piano? Like, how do you remember what keys to press even though you're not looking at it? And they're
Gotcha.
just like, I just know. It's
From the
honestly
yeah,
it's
yeah.
one of those things because like not only have I worked at this for 12 years, and took breaks in between that time to refocus and come back and reinvent myself as an artist. But you also is also something that has a natural aspect to it. Like you don't have to ask somebody who's naturally gifted at catching a ball, hey, how do you know when to jump and turn around so you can one hand this ball in midair? It's just
Or
like, bro, my body does what it
just did
does. You know,
it. Interesting.
yeah.
So the other part I want to talk about in this section is like like for an example, the life of I guess I can use J. Cole in this instance, or even I guess keep using McMill because those are like recent, but like the transition going from like that underground life and freestyle period to when they transition to mainstream.
Okay.
Like, so can you kind of like, have you ever analyzed or break down like what it takes to like make that transition as an artist?
I think one of the biggest things, like I'll use Drake for an example. I loved Drake
Okay.
when we were younger. I think one of the first songs I heard was like the
The
song he did
morning.
on Degrassi.
Oh, okay,
And this
okay.
is what made me like Drake was the freestyle on Degrassi, which was like a minute long. And then
When the song "Can I Hit It in the Morning," he made that before he went mainstream, right?
he
That was like mixtape, I think.
yeah, his first big mainstream song was with Trey Songz.
Okay,
I forget what the song is called, but
that's
it
cool.
was that Trey Songz song where he's wearing that white button up and it's purple in the video and shit. But one of my favorite songs from him was "Good Night and Good Luck." And you probably never heard this song. This was like
Probably not.
really
Yeah.
really fucking early. I think this wasn't even on one of his first mixtapes. Like that's how early Drake it was. But
Huh.
one of like that song really made me like Drake like as a rapper. I was like,
Okay.
yo, this dude could spit. He flows nice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he has bars, but they're not like super like aggressive. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like it
yeah.
don't sound like he's trying to like Eminem everybody, show people he can bar them to death. I was like, I like this dude. And then like I watched him progress over the years from that fucking Trey song to Unforgettable and Thank Me
Yeah, yeah.
Later, all the way to Nothing Was this. Like you watch the progression as an artist. And the one thing I think I've noticed the most is his audience has only grown. So he doesn't just make music. Like he talked about this like 2 albums ago where they were like, I think it was the one where I forget the
Drake doesn't do much interviews,
a
but is this from an
keepers
interview?
he
I should say
this
podcast.
was
I'm
this was
sorry.
a post, and he also said it in one of the songs
In a song,
on the
yeah.
album, but it was from a keepers whatever that album is called, a keepers something. um and he talks about it. He's like I don't only make music for rap fans no more, like because he is a pop star, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Like you think
At this
and
point, for
not saying
sure.
with my hotline bling, like
Yeah.
I didn't like that song, but white girls love that shit. He can go anywhere in the world. He can go to Germany and they know that fucking song. He go to
Yep, yep.
Australia, he knows that song. So I think the fact that when these artists go from like underground hip hop or like less mainstream
Yeah.
to mainstream artistry and hip hop, you have to broaden your horizons. Think about like somebody like Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj didn't come out like she got popular off that song, like other than like the Young Money albums. She got a dunk like that song. You remember she remade that song?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
in the plane with Dwayne. You could call
Yeah.
me like, but that music sounds different today. Like I'm trying to think of like one of the recent songs that she did that was like it was real poppy, but she can go anywhere in the world and she could perform her music in any country in the world that they may not even speak English, but she has an entire fan base there because she makes music for everyone.
Wow, yeah,
So I
yeah.
think I
A
think
lot of
going
people
from
do like Nicki Minaj.
yeah,
It's really,
like
yeah,
honestly, Nicki
it's
Minaj.
strange.
I had a conversation with some. He's my uncle. I'll say he's my uncle.
Okay.
But he was like, "Yo, who do you have as your top 5 female rappers of all time?" And I was like, Queen Latifah. I put MC Light in there. I put Foxy Brown. I put Lil Kim, and I put Nicki Minaj last, or some shit like that. But Nicki Minaj was last, and he was like, Nicki's supposed to be in that first spot, and I'm like, why? He's like, because without Nicki Minaj, these women will not have the opportunity that they have today. Like Lil Kim was never as big as Nicki Minaj. Lil Kim was
That's true,
very
yeah.
very popular in
She
the United
was,
States,
yeah.
but she's
She's not
never
as big
done
as
Nicki
Nicki. That's
Minaj numbers.
facts. Yeah,
Foxy
yeah.
Brown, she could rap her ass off, But no, MC Light was very popular, but no, like she changed the game for women.
She
And
did, yeah.
after having that conversation with somebody who's even more well versed in like hip hop and in its travels,
Mhm.
he put me onto something that I didn't even consider. He starts giving me like album breakdowns and you know what I'm saying, like women who came before her, and it made a lot of sense. So now, like I even have a total different perspective on Nicki Minaj. I might not always be so fond about the fact that her message of what she pushes, where she talks about like you know that her ass is fat and her pussy's good because little girls listen to her, and that kind of in my mind like. I don't want my daughter listening to that
Yeah,
shit. I don't
right.
want her walking around rapping that shit because she's more than just what her body
Right, yeah.
shows. But there's also something to say was she created a lane for women. And now women don't
did.
have to do that because she don't have to do that no more. She chooses to do that. She could make pop music, she could sing on songs,
True.
she could do
Yeah.
whatever the fuck she
She
wants.
collabs with a lot of different
A lot, yeah.
artists too as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I think that's what it is. Like and you see that
So
with so many artists.
so summing that up is to make that transition to mainstream
You
is
got to
you
broaden the
have to
base.
broaden
Your audience. Yeah, you got to
Gotcha.
broaden your audience. Jay-Z with making that album with Linkin Park.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know what I'm
remember that. I
saying?
remember that.
You know,
You know, it's
like
funny. My cousin used to watch Cherno. He used
yeah,
to watch Degrassi, so he was kind of already kind of in
put
that
on
part
to
of that world. And he actually used to listen to Linkin Park.
yo,
He used to play
it's
Linkin Park in the
crazy,
house.
bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like you get it.
Do you when you were younger? Did you listen to any other different
White people
genre?
music?
You can, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still do,
Like
bro.
who were your favorite artists?
Paramount, Green Day. I did Linkin Park.
Yeah.
I love The Fray.
For whatever reason,
Kansas.
a lot of black people like Linkin Park, but Linkin Park was
That's
dope.
that's because they got the Jay-Z stamp. That's in my
No, I
opinion.
think my
But
my cousin was listening to him before the Jay-Z collab.
other
Honestly,
than that one song, if they're like not mainstream songs that you could hear like on a radio or like at the pool in the summertime,
yeah,
that they'll just play the music. Like I don't really know any Linkin Park songs like that. But
gotcha.
like I listened to that album. I'm pretty sure it was called Encore, if I'm not mistaken. But I listened to the album, but it was because Jay-Z.
It was on.
You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Jay-Z
yeah,
was
Jay-Z put 'em on.
collaborating with them. But I listened to like a lot of like rock music, alternative music when I was younger. That's also something that I think you have to do as a musician.
As an
Like
artist.
today, I don't really listen to that much rap music. Like I listen to like we'll say the mainstream rap artists, but I listen to a lot more R&B, and it's just because like I like the message that they push more than I like hip hop music's message.
The
But
current
like
message, yeah.
yeah, I still listen, but I listen to like our goats. You know what I mean? I listen to Drake. I listen to
Right.
Meek when he drops. I listen to
Kendrick and
Cole, yeah, Kendrick. I listen to all of them.
Yeah. So for me, Meek Mills, the reason why I say
You still
enjoy-
listen to Meek Mill a lot?
Not really.
No.
But when I don't listen to music period that much.
Really?
As I used to. Yeah, I really don't.
You
I
listen to
really-
a lot
I
more
really-
podcasts and shit?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like more educational stuff. But I really at one point I went through a purge because I used to listen to music heavy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like I used to be like one of those guys that when a new song came out, like I was on.
You was on it. I used to be like that too.
Like,
on hot,
yeah.
hot new hip hop
Yeah, for
every
like,
day.
Like for an example, when that song with Meek Mill and Rick Ross came out, "I'm a Boss,"
Mhm.
I was like, I
hated
on
that song.
I was,
Bro,
I was one of the
hate,
first ones on.
I hate all the mainstream like popular songs. They just play them out for me.
You know, and then going back to that song, going back to that song, I remember Alvin and them were coming out like for basketball, a basketball
was
game.
it Chief Keef and them?
And then no. This is staying with that song, and he was I think he put a post on Facebook asking for like, oh, what's a good song to come out to, and that song I literally just listened to it like 5 minutes ago, and I posted it on Facebook, and he was like, oh, I never heard this joint's hot.
Yeah, it's like yeah,
Like,
nigga.
yeah. So
I'm the
I
new
think
Jalen Cannon.
So,
you
bro,
niggas,
I used to be like that, like when it
Yeah.
came to music, but I like
Nigga had to
I
find the
purged
newest shit.
myself where like when I stopped listening to music, I really felt good, like in terms of my own, like the way I thought, my thought process and stuff. Like I felt like they were my own.
Mm.
I feel like when I was so heavily listening to music,
You felt like
sometimes
the
my
influences?
emotions would change depending on what music I was listening to. It was weird.
That's
but
that's real.
Yeah, I know.
There was
It's real. I felt it.
there was
That
an
is real.
episode in the Boondocks about that.
Yeah.
And it was from was it Gangstalicious? This is before like the actual Gangstalicious episode, I
Okay.
believe. But like they were playing his music in the club, and like whenever he would play the music, like people would get into fights in the club. And then when the
I
music
think I
would
saw that.
stop,
Yeah, I saw
when
that.
the music would stop,
Everybody goes back to
everybody
normal.
chilling,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean? And damn man, we gotta roll back to him again. But
It's
this is
really
this is
real.
what the
It's
D1 niggas talking about.
right,
Where
right.
it's like music
It is.
has a way of creating a feeling. You know what I mean? You hear something like you might hear like I mean, think about just some music makes you want to dance. Some
Yeah, yeah,
music
yeah.
make you want to cry. Some
Right, right.
music is feelings. They're
It is.
vibrations.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
They're
it makes you think
vibrations.
about different like,
And
relationships you
yeah,
had.
it,
and
ma-
stuff
it
like
makes
that.
you put certain shit into perspective. Things that you didn't know you were still holding, you carrying. You know what I'm saying? So like, what makes us think that when we're talking about when I'm gonna put his boy in a blunt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I'll shoot him in his head, and I'll blow up his mom's house. Like, what makes you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that shit's
exactly.
not affecting people?
It affects your friendships, like all different types
Yeah.
of relationships.
Yeah.
It can affect your friendship. Like imagine like you just keep hearing your favorite rapper talking about like piping somebody else's girl or
It's my
whatever.
wife or
taking
something like
somebody's
that.
wife.
Yeah.
That can affect you. Like, oh, is my friend gonna do
Yeah,
this?
is my friend gonna fuck
You know
my
what I'm
wife?
saying?
You know,
Like that
or
messes
you might,
with your psyche.
yeah,
And it friendships, your friend of your family friendship, your family relationship. Maybe somebody's talking about how their childhood was or their relationship with their father, or
right.
and then maybe you had similar experiences, so it started affecting you, even though maybe their father and your father are totally two different people, and maybe two different circumstances that happen.
But the feeling's
But
the
the feeling
same.
that he's feeling,
Yeah.
you're gonna want to adopt that just because you're listening to it and you're flowing with it.
Yeah,
But me, when I stopped listening to music, honest, like I'm saying, like the experience I had, like I started noticing like my emotions were more stable, and my thought process was like my own,
but why? But
which
why?
I like.
Why cancel music pretty much in totality and not find things that more align with like who you are as a person today? Because that's why I say I listen to more R&B
Yeah, but
than I do hip hop at this point.
sometimes it's good just to stop. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like just like reset almost.
Yeah.
Like just stop and like figure out yourself. Like now I can, cause sometimes you don't like, say if you're involved in that loop, it's kind of hard or it might be misleading just to jump to something else.
Yeah,
What if it's not really like your own thought process or your own real feeling? But if you like cut everything out, I think you can get an actual
a real
gauge
look
of,
at
okay,
yeah.
like okay, now I know. So I've been going like a whole year without listening to music. Now I can come back into music and figure out what I actually want to listen to,
Do
or
you,
what aligns to my actual emotions or how I want to feel.
do you not listen to like even like your own like culture's music? You don't
Yeah,
none of it?
No, like I don't. Okay, I'm talking about this was
Just
like in high
we're talking
school.
about just a
At
hip hop
that-
thing. Okay.
No. Like I'm talking about the time I listen to music here and there now.
Okay.
But it's not as much as I used to, even when I was like in high school as a kid.
You would go everywhere with
Yeah,
music.
walking to school, I had like my little AirPods on or whatever, or iPod, whatever the
Yeah.
thing was at the time. Even CD players in elementary school or middle school, I had CD players walking to school. Like I was that.
Damn, man.
I was like that.
It's a different
Hell
era
yeah,
for all
bro.
you youngins.
Do you remember the little iPod minis? Jones,
Yeah,
that used to
I always
have
hated them.
everything?
Them shits didn't have enough memory. I just
They-
always used to get MP3s.
Oh yeah.
I just always did MP3s. I was an
I
MP3
had
guy.
one. I think somebody gave me it was like a gift or whatever, and you can clip it like right on your jaw. You walk to school.
I ain't losing this shit. No way.
Yeah, no, that was dope. But anyways, I'm specifically talking about like I actually went through like a phase of my life where I didn't listen to any music for like a whole year, and it
Mhm.
was a great experience because I really felt like I got my
Your
own
own
thoughts,
thoughts,
and,
yeah.
and emotions and how I really felt. They were more organic, I should say.
I love the
and
fact that you
I
say
really
that,
love
bro.
that.
I love the fact that you say that because the I always say the two easiest ways to get people to connect is music and food. We all love to eat and we
Yeah.
all love music. And if you really want, like, you can go anywhere in the world. Y'all don't got to speak the same language, but the music you will always be enticed to, and the food you will always be enticed to. You know what I'm saying? That like amongst cultures, that shit is for everybody amongst whatever culture. So I love the fact that you say, like, when I took a break and I started to realize some things about myself, some
Yeah.
things that maybe I thought were actually me that wasn't me at all, and it
Right.
had
Yeah.
more to do with what I was consuming. That shit's so important, bro, because people don't, and we'll even broaden it from away from just music, because we have other outside influences that are just as impactful in our lives, and we don't necessarily realize that until we
Yeah.
remove certain things,
That's a
whether it
fact.
be cigarettes, toxic friends, bad relationships. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, where they're not
Even
being
keeping it,
respected.
at the point of, like, say, media. Even sometimes, like, shows you
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
It could be show. It doesn't always have to be something you listen to. It could be something you listen to,
I used to.
something you're watching.
Yep.
You
I
know.
used to watch the news a couple years ago when I ran for city council. Honestly, since I lost that election 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now,
Yeah.
I barely watch the news. I'll check on the news maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and it would just be like just to stay somewhat relevant about what's going on in the world. Other than that, bro, I deal with right here what's going on in this city, or just like what's going on in this present moment in time.
Word.
Because, bro, I used to be so consumed with that shit. I almost killed somebody.
It's good to take a break,
Yeah,
man.
I almost killed somebody over what I was consuming, like in the media. Like, this is around like the George Floyd time and shit like that,
Really?
where I'm thinking like every white person hates me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Speak about that.
uh, the one day we was driving in Whitehall, and I was about to go through a stoplight, but the shit turned red, so I cut through a gas station. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to cut through gas stations to avoid lights. But I
Got you.
went through
Yeah.
I went through the gas station, and I went through it kind of quick because I was trying to beat the oncoming traffic going down the street I was trying to turn onto. And but when I got to like the curb to make that right onto the street, the dude was too close, so I waited, and he threw his hands up in his car, and I'm like, all right, go ahead, bro. Like, I wasn't gonna cut you off. And so I get behind him, and he sticks his hand out the window. He waves for me to go past him. So this is a 1-lane street we're on, and I'm behind him. He waves for me to go past. I jump in the left lane, and I try to go past him, thinking he's gonna let me. And this dude, as soon as I jump in the other lane and start to pass, he goes like this. He swerves his car into the lane
In front of you.
Yeah, it's like he cuts me
Cut you
off.
off, yeah.
So now the only thing I could do was either stomp on my brakes or crash into this pole. And my kids are in the car, my wife's in the car, so I'm tight now. So I jump back behind him. We get to a stoplight, and he's pointing in the mirror like this, like, make this right here onto this side block. And my wife's
was telling you to pull over.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's telling me to pull over. My wife's like, Eric, just go straight. Eric, just go straight. Now, at this time, I was very big into guns. Like, I still appreciate guns, and I still think everybody should go out there and get their Second Amendment rights and exercise them. But I'm very different now. I believe those things, but I don't carry a gun carry a gun everywhere I go anymore. Yeah. I hardly ever carry it now. But yeah, he tells me bang this right. My wife's like, go straight. Just fuck this dude.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, fuck that. I want to see what his fucking problem is. That was exactly what I said. So I bang this right. And when we pull up, we go like 300 feet into the block, and there's an alleyway. He pulls in front, like he pulls on the front part of the alleyway. I pull behind it. So now only the alleyway, like the distance of the alleyway is what's separating our cars. And my wife's like, Eric, do not get out this car. Just drive away. I'm like, nah, I want to see what his fucking issue is. And so listen, this just keeps going from bad to worse. Like, I'm just making poor decision after poor decision after poor decision.
Interesting.
And by the time I get out the car, I was like, hold on, I just want to see what his problem is. I dig in the door, I grab my gun, I put it on my waist. When I step out of the car, the nigga's at the front of the hood of my car already. So like, he's about this distance like you and I are at. He's like, what the fuck is your problem? I'm like, yo, like, I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you almost cut me off. I said, I didn't cut you off. I got behind you. I said, you cut me off trying to like run me off the road. I said, my family's in the car. He said, you got a fucking problem. And he moves like a step closer. So now he's like half the distance of you and I. And I pull my gun out. I was like, do not take another motherfucking step. And my gun's in this dude's face. And and everything in me, bro, I'm ready to kill this motherfucking dude if he's willing to try his luck. He goes, oh, you're going to shoot me? I said, I would drop your ass right here.
Oh, shit.
And mind you, my kids are in the car. My wife's in the car. And he thinks about it. Like, he took a real long thought about it.
Something was going on with him.
Something was going on with him, just as something was going on with me.
Yeah,
the issue was not each other.
Right.
But something was going on for the both of us. And he takes this long... He said, "You're a fucking asshole," and walked back to his car.
Thank God.
And I said, "Yeah, nigga," and I egged him on after. I was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, you picked the right nigga today." That's exactly what I said. And I jump back in the car and I look in the back seat to ask my kids, "Are you okay?" And I see them all pop up from behind the car seats. My wife had them get
They were all
down.
watching.
No, my wife had them get under
they
the
were
seat just in case
all.
this dude also had a gun.
Okay, so they were all. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, so
Well, good thing
everybody's
they didn't see that either.
but they could hear us
Yeah.
because we were loud. But like just seeing their faces and how like how shook they look coming up from behind the seats, bro. That shit broke my heart. That shit broke my heart. It made me take a real good look at myself. Like not only what was I doing to them, but what was I doing to myself that
Right.
made me think that it was okay to one, get into some argument with some random dude over nothing, pretty much. Pull a gun on this man and threaten to take his life over something that I could have just kept going straight for. And I realized when after that, I went back and I was heavy on Facebook at the time. You know, Facebook's hella negative. At least mine was at the time. And I would get into fucking 2-hour long arguments in a day, just fucking debating with people. Hello.
You're good.
I would get into like 2-hour long debates with people. Like about things that had nothing to do with us, not things that didn't even have to do with the city. Yeah, of Facebook, just trying to prove that I'm right and he's wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break from Facebook and I'm gonna stop watching the news. And for 3 years, I just recently kind of got back on Facebook, but it's only to post my podcast episodes.
Promote your stuff.
And that's it. Like I don't get on there, or I get on the marketplace and I'll go like find some shit. Like if I want a speed bag for the house or something. But like, you know, I cut it out just how you cut out the music because I realized how influential it was and what it was doing to me and
social
to the people
media
in my
can
life.
be toxic, bro.
It is. It is.
Think about it. I don't know. Are you familiar with was it Charleston White?
Charleston White is hilarious. That nigga sued every job he ever been to. Nah, but I seen some shit that made me. I still respect him because he was honest, but I lost respect because I seen some shit the other day, which was
he's a comedian on there.
He's also a comedian. That was the other thing. Like I try to keep in perspective, but he was like, fuck the hood, nigga. I got money now. I'll go back to the hood. He's like, yeah, I used to be an activist. I used to give a fuck about the neighborhood. Now he 9 out of 10, he probably was joking, but it was how I met him was somebody that was like, I'm a stickler for the rules kind of thing. Like he was like, I call OSHA. I call OSHA on you. Like, oh, Damien over there talking about how he fucking Tasha from the meat department, and I don't want to hear about it. I'm trying to enjoy my 30-minute break. So he sued all these places, and this is how I found him and shit like that. And he always made me laugh, and a lot of shit he would talk about. I
laugh at most of his stuff,
but he be talking facts. Like sometimes, like he talk about like the plight of like black men. You know what I mean, in America, and like how black women should be more supportive, like and how we should be some more supportive of them. Like a lot of shit he touches base on, I agree with. But this shit I seen, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I was like, oh man, I don't like the way this sounds, bro.
But my point. The reason I brought him up, I was gonna say he's like a troll, and he really goes online to piss people off. Like that's really one of his. I mean, from what I've seen,
and you could tell
like,
too.
If there's a Charleston White video popping over my YouTube, I'm clicking on it.
I used to be like that with Kevin Samuels.
Oh, okay, I used to watch Kevin too. Rest in peace.
RP, RP Kevin Samuels.
But yeah, Charleston White, he's like a troll, bro. And what's crazy is people actually argue with him online. I don't know if you have seen one of his videos. He'll be in his car. And like somebody will call in, and like they would be just going, and I'm gonna pull up to your house. Or people are saying they're gonna pull up to him to shoot him because maybe he said something about maybe like Nipsey Hussle, or he said something about another rapper. What was that kid name in Chicago? Vaughn.
Oh, King Vaughn. Yeah,
he was saying, King Vaughn is a serial killer. He deserved to be in jail.
I used to always ask that same question
and all that.
About
people don't like that.
Yeah, about rappers. I had this conversation on Facebook a couple years ago. I was like, "What's the difference between rappers who catch bodies, who kill people, and rap about it and talk and they talk about how like the work that they put in? What's the difference between them and serial killers? Like if you killed 4 people and then you rap about it and you talk about how you love to shoot at people and hurt people. What's the difference between them and a serial killer? And they're like, oh, they're killing because they represent gangs. I'm like, I don't really see a difference. Like y'all have a code that y'all follow, and y'all like to hurt people. Like it's up the same. It might not be the same branch, but y'all niggas stem from the same tree, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's. I mean, like some of the stuff that was happening in Chicago is wild, but yeah, I don't see a difference in my opinion
Yeah,
either. I don't really see a difference. If you're out there killing multiple people, you're technically a serial killer.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, like I
for
call
no
it spade,
reason too, or
call
maybe
it
for
spade a
like
spade.
for gang related, that's still a serial killer. But
That's weird.
but what I think the point I was bringing up was
With
the reason why like I wanted to get into the storytelling part of hip hop. So the main reason why I really like was attached or listened to Meek Mills, especially when he was first coming up, was he just wasn't like just rapping to be rapping. He was telling stories. I remember he came out. There was one song that he dropped had like a part two as well, where he literally told the whole
I think I know what
story.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Was it Tony?
yeah,
Tony Story.
Yeah, the
Tony
Tony story.
Story. Yeah.
That was so dope. So like that was one of the main reason why I liked that Meek Mills, because he like it wasn't just rapping. Like he had stories.
The art of
The art of
storytelling.
story. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That shit's all been
Can
throughout.
you talk about
been-
like the techniques and,
oh
and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that
The whole point of hip hop
and
is
why does it captivate us like as an audience? If you can get into that.
the whole point of hip hop is to share your experience. I think honestly, like unless you're like mumble rappers, like I don't really see
Yeah.
that from them. But that's a subsection of hip hop that
True.
is not hip hop.
Right.
Just like twerking music it's part of hip hop, but it's not hip
Yeah,
hop.
it's just a different genre.
It's a
or whatever you wanna
subsection
call it.
of hip hop. It's a subgenre of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the art of storytelling has come from, you can bring it all the way back to its foundational days, all the way back with battle rap, where it's like just being able to articulate what you do and what you're about, and trying to explain this to people in rhyme.
In rhymes,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
In the art of storytelling, we all love that shit. Like stories like Tony's story,
Yeah, yeah.
or you go back to like MC Light and what's that song? Kiss the girls and make them cry. But she has a story where she tells them, or I got a better one. Renee, you ever heard Renee? I met this honey named Renee that I met one day on the way back from John Jay.
No, I haven't heard that one. Is
but-
that a newer one or
Nah. This
Okay.
is an old song, but this is one of the greatest storytelling songs ever.
Okay.
Or like Slippin', not Slippin', from DMX. How It's Going Down.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like these are all
Everybody putting on that
great.
one,
These
bro.
are all great storytelling songs, and it's all to share an experience of what they're going through.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Biggie, I got a story to tell. He's
Right.
fucking some famous basketball player's chick, and this nigga comes home. So the only thing he could do is pull out his gun and make him think it's a robbery, and the nigga gives him 10 G's out the floor. And he goes back and he tells his boys, like, yo, this is what happened.
Yeah.
And like as you're listening to the song.
What
like,
about the one with Biggie? What is it? Like 3 o'clock in the morning.
oh yeah.
Is that the same? That's a different one though.
No,
yeah?
that's a different
That's the
one.
same- okay,
yeah,
that's a
that
different
one was
one. Yeah,
that
yeah.
one was with Diddy.
That one is dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
but
one is dope.
even that one, where like you,
And
you
two,
get
Biggie, but like that's why I think a lot of people like Biggie is because of his not just rhymes but the storytelling.
yeah, and then there's a whole added effect to it for hip hop, right? Because you also get to do music videos. So you not only get to tell the story, if you're listening to it, some people don't really listen to music that well. But if you listen to the song and now you can visually
Yeah.
see what I'm
You can-
trying to
yep,
explain to you,
And
boom,
act- you
you're
can
like,
make people act it.
holy
That's
shit.
dope. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and how it's going down, the song starts out as like, bitch, who you fucking? No, who dick you sucking? She's like, what you talking about? I don't know nobody in Yonkers. And he's like, do I gotta say his name? She's like, who you talking about? I don't know nobody up here, and I ain't been fucking nobody up here. And he's like, bitch, you fucking him. And click, and he hangs up the phone. And then the whole song is about DMX meeting some chick that he fucks with, and he started smashing Shorty, and now he got Shorty going to pick up bud and drugs for him, and they can make money together. But then he hears in the neighborhood that her baby dad runs up on some dude that he thinks is DMX. And he basically lets him know, like, I'm gonna kill you, nigga. You keep messing with my baby mom. And he's like, yo, I heard he did that to some dude that looked like me. So tell him chill out before we have to bury your son's father. He said, but you know what? I'm not even gonna do that. He's like, I ain't even with that. He's like, I ain't even with that. So I'm gonna take a step back. You have your family, you know what I mean? It was fun while it lasted. Like, out of respect for you and your son, I'm not gonna do that. But like, you get to put all this shit together.
Yeah,
A
the
lot of
song.
games are being played. How's it going down? But yo, the storytelling is part of the music. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
if you're not trying to teach somebody something, if you're not trying to share something with somebody, then what are you talking for in many aspects?
Yeah.
Like at least for me, that's where I'm at in my life, and that's why I'm very particular in what type of music I listen to and who I listen to.
Do you incorporate storytelling in your music?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I know
I have a
from
lot
some of
of
the
it.
songs that for sure I can confirm that.
Like conversations that I have with people in my life. Like one of the songs I recently did is called Monopoly, and it's a song to both me and my son, essentially. But I'm using the game Monopoly to explain the things that I teach him in life.
Okay.
And it's, if you listen to the song, you'll be able to hear it, especially after me explaining what the song's
Yeah,
about.
I'll
But
definitely
like
check it out.
visually, you'll be able to like really be like, wow, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I say in a part of the song where it's like, yeah, your friends want you to do good, but what if it's better than them? Don't be surprised in this game of life. Expect the unexpected. That's a code and creed I live by. We all on the grind, chasing dollar bills, driving fast Ferraris on designer wheels. They selling us a dream for the Holly Hills, the Molly still. So like, I, I'm basically trying to explain to my son like this is why I teach integrity to you, because everybody's trying to sell you something. Everybody's trying to make it seem like they're looking out for your benefit, but not everybody got your best benefit. You know what I'm saying? So be
Facts,
true to
bro.
be true to who you are. And then like the Molly thing, when I was like 17 years old, I tried Molly one time,
wow.
and I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to be the only person in the group who didn't try it. And I'm like, the Molly still coursing through my system, got my shit out of whack. I should have said no, but wanted respect. Who the fuck was I trying to impress? So it's basically like when you do things that are uncharacteristic of yourself, you put yourself in a bad spot. You do things that don't sit right within your soul. That's something that happened when I was 17 years old. I'm 28, and I'm just now starting to like really process the fact that I was out there doing things that weren't true to myself
Right, yeah,
for an image.
Yeah.
For an image.
Yeah.
But then today
it happens, but yeah.
But then today I sit here and and I talk to people and they compliment me on the life that I've built.
Yep,
And
yep.
like, and this is still something that I'm hung up on. You know what I mean? And it's like a learning thing for me.
Yeah.
I think the art of storytelling, you have to put it in music, because you should be trying to educate people, or you should be trying to share something with somebody,
Word.
giving them a message of something. You know what I'm saying? Like the craziest part is, right, hip hop is so gimmicky. You can come up with a dance, you could be really famous. You can come up with a fire hook, and nobody know the verses. Like a milli, like
Yeah.
people know like the first like 16 bars of that song, but almost nobody knows the second half of that the second half of the song.
Yeah.
But they know it like a milli,
Right,
like
yeah.
you hear it and it snaps.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really talking about nothing in that song.
Yeah.
Which
Or
is why,
nothing that has to
which
do
is why,
with Milli.
which is why the longevity of the song, like you don't hear people, like they might play it in a club,
Yeah.
but you'll never drive down the block and hear somebody at the stoplight listening to that shit.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. The substance matters in hip hop.
It does. Yeah.
The message of the music matters. And when you lose that, that's kind of when you get into like uncharted territory. You might be doing something just for a moment. You might be doing something so you can make a dance because you realize like people have success with dances.
Right.
But like unless you that like that's your goal, the most successful music, especially for hip hop, has been music that is consciously aware.
Right.
And the albums that are the most represented for that, like if you had to go back and you say you get one album to show somebody what hip hop music is who's never heard of it, to make them a fan, who do you do? You're not 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna pick 50 Cent fucking Get Rich or Die Trying. That's it's a great album. It's a great album, but
I was a big 50 Cent fan.
Me
but
too.
I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't pick it.
If you're asking me, I'd probably pick like a Biggie album, like Notorious B.I.G.
I would probably,
Yeah.
honestly, for me, I'd probably
pick one of those.
I'd probably pick Nas's first album.
I love Nas too, though. You know, what I'm saying? I love Nas.
I'd honestly probably pick Nas's first album.
Nas is like was really one of as even other than Big L, I think he was really one of the only artists that were saying, "Oh, let's go back to Africa." You know, so
that
like,
wasn't until he got to Nas
that really
Nas
clicked
actual.
with me with Nas. You know what I'm saying? Nas
Yeah.
has always been like somebody very
consciously
Yeah.
aware. You know what I'm
he
saying?
was a whole nother level. Bro.
Like hip hop has a place for everything.
Facts, yeah.
which is why it's so broad now, which is why we often get confused when we have hip hop conversations about what's actually hip hop and what's not
Not
hip
hip
hop,
hop,
because
yeah.
we have so many subgenres of hip
Right,
hop.
right.
Everything stems from hip hop today. You listen to rock songs and you got these black rock artists. I'm not sure like if you've seen
I've
them
seen
lately,
couple.
but they bring this element of hip
Or
hop into
even
country
country
music.
music.
Yeah,
The
you know
country
what I'm
music
saying?
artists.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm. You know
I've
what I'm
came
saying?
across couple.
Yeah, and like these bitches got bops, and but the only difference is they sound different.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
got that country music
they got
vibe.
the country
Yeah.
music, they got the
Yeah.
country sound.
Yeah.
But it's hip hop. It has elements
Yeah,
of hip hop.
for
It's not
sure.
hip hop,
Right.
but it's a subgenre of
Yeah,
it.
yep.
It might be more of a country branch of it. You know, we see hip hop bleeding into like reggaeton music, or dembow music, with like
Sure.
Bad Bunny doing collaborations with Drake.
Yep,
You know
yep,
what I'm
yep.
saying? And now you got these two dudes who don't even speak the same language. And now you got Drake rapping in Spanish sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you got this dude trying to rap in English. And
Yeah.
it's very broad. It's
Boom.
very broad.
Let's pause there. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
To sit here and watch the
Sorry,
entire
Eric.
city. What happened?
Sorry. Can we restart that? So
Okay.
Eric is for whatever reason this thing wasn't recorded.
I'm not a politician.
You're not a politician.
I'm not a
but
politician.
You're involved.
I'm somebody
You
who
have
cares.
ran for
I'm somebody who
office.
cares about the community. I'm not
You're
a
somebody who
politician.
cares for the cause.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I got to
Um,
use politics to help, I don't mind.
Right.
So we'll
Is
say
it
that.
almost like how some rappers say they're not a rapper but they make music?
Yeah. Actually, I agree with that. I don't consider myself a rapper either. I sing. I do.
Yeah.
I do
You do more
spoken
than
word.
rap.
I do more than rap.
you're an
I don't want to
artist.
be known as solely a rapper
A
because
rapper,
I'm many
yeah,
things.
yeah, true,
You know what I'm saying? You like it's kind of like that saying was like you can't put me into a box.
Word,
You can't put me
That's-
into a box.
I can respect that.
But yeah, so a couple years, I had an opportunity to live in this city my entire life and still currently do. So I had the opportunity to watch how this city progressed from when I was a little boy to where I am now as a grown man. And I've lived in many different areas of this city. I've lived close to Whitehall, down off Lumber Street, on 10th Street in Center City, Allentown. I lived on the South Side. I've lived in on the East Side. So I've had an opportunity to pretty much see every corner of the city and live in many of them. And just watch how it all progresses, how the neighborhoods flourish, how the schools improve, how the roads improve, how the protection for the city, and just the city in totality. And a couple of years ago, I was like really fed up with the fact that so much money gets poured into one little section of Allentown, and then the rest is left to fight over crumbs. And so I felt like there was a huge wealth distribution issue in the city of Allentown, and I still think that there is. And the one thing that you can do as a citizen of any city that you live in is you can go and run for these political seats. In our city, in our case, city council is the one that handles the budgets for the city of Allentown. They work in tandem with the mayor, and then we work together to create laws and come up with systems and put things in place so that the people of the city have an opportunity to grow and enrich their lives. So yeah, I was like, that's something I want to do. So a couple years ago, I got into politics. I ended up losing the election by less than 200 votes. But
that's okay, man. If that's something really if that's something you really want to do, you just gotta keep going after it, man.
Yeah, I'm still debating. There's
You
still
win.
some other things in my life that like are one is a little bit more enjoyable. And two things that like I put on the back burner in place of other things that now are at the forefront. So I'm still trying to work it out. But yeah, I ran because I really wanted to see the lives of the people that live here improve. You know what I mean? And not only that, just the city to improve, and not just one little piece of the city improve. So I ran for city council. I ended up losing, but I built a lot of like connections that I maintain. A lot of friendships from the people that I met on the campaign trail over that 10-month period. And I still actually have a pretty decent amount of influence in some aspects where it's like I get to have meetings with certain people that like the average person just ain't gonna know or have meetings with. I can call certain people. I don't got to go through like the city to get things done. So it came with some perks. A couple days ago, somebody contacted me who works in the city of Allentown to have another meeting to see if I want to run again in a couple years. So I mean, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there, as far as like
Word.
whether I'm gonna be back on the political scene or not.
Do you know what do you know what I want to do for like the city, whatever?
What?
I've been thinking about like teaching kids or youth, whatever, basically tech, like technology. So in terms of
That's dope.
I wanna do like a program where I teach kids how to basically build projects using like an Arduino or using like a Raspberry Pi. I'm not familiar. Are you familiar with those
No,
devices? So
you
these
said a
are
Raspberry Pi.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a Raspberry Pi is like it's literally it's a computer.
Okay.
It's like a processor. It's a mini computer you can use to automate different things.
Okay.
And people use it to build all kind of projects. Like you can use it and build a clock. You can use it
Is it?
and
It's just like a power source.
no, it's a computer.
It's an
Like
actual computer.
it's
Okay.
able to. It has the capability to compute. It's like a motherboard almost, like a processor. It has the capabilities to compute. It has you can also it has memory. You can download stuff to it. But let's not get too technical.
Why haven't you done this?
Why I
Or
haven't
this
done
is
it?
just an idea that just popped up?
I mean, I'm still developing myself within using the device itself. But in terms of the knowledge wise, I already have that. It's just the terms of putting everything together to be able to teach it or present it to others.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than just winging it. You know.
I,
But
I
it's
like I
something
like that.
I'm interested in. If you want to partner up or do anything, that's something we
I
can
could
do for the
definitely
youth.
help you like give you some names and numbers of people that might be able to like
Oh yeah.
get like funding for it or space to actually be able to do
Yeah, the
these
space.
things.
I was thinking about maybe going talking to somebody at the public library since I'm not that far from here.
Um,
To do that, but
Another good place might be
I
is
mean,
like
what?
Promise Neighborhoods.
Where's that?
That's right off of American Parkway.
Okay,
Um, right next to the car dealership. They sell like rugs in the same like building.
okay.
But yeah, they just recently started up a program to teach the youth about music production
Oh,
and things
cool.
like that. So they're branching into other areas like creative areas and trying to give kids just more than the traditional education we get in
Yeah.
our public schools.
Word.
So and not only that, I know some people like that in the city where they could connect you with other people to get, like I said, get you a space where these things like are
Can
you have
take
these things at
place.
your disposal so you can
Yeah.
actually teach,
Word.
because
Word.
you need the materials in order to teach
Yeah, for
certain
sure.
things. So let's
That
talk
that would
about
be
it
yeah.
off
Well,
camera.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll connect. And
Yeah.
what I'm saying too is like maybe it can be part of your whole campaign or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds awesome.
you can use me, bro. It's
Nigga
cool.
said you could use he said just don't misuse me. I heard
Um,
somebody say that. They were like, we're all here to be used.
We are,
Just
bro.
don't
We are. We
misuse
really
me.
right. That's a fact.
You know?
Some people take it personal or get offended when somebody asks for a favor, but they never think about when they need a favor.
Yeah.
So
And not only that, I think the very fact that I mean, I get asked for a lot of favors, so like I feel like my availability to do everybody's favors has been lessening, and it's for like my own sanity and
Yeah.
mental health. But the very fact that people feel confident enough to come for you for your help in itself is like a pat on the back.
yeah,
Because listen, nobody's going down to 7-Eleven and asking the bum for anything. You know what I'm saying? He has nothing to offer nobody, so you know, be grateful that you have something that you could help people with.
that's funny. Yeah, man. No, but it definitely can be too much though. Like if you're somebody, say if you do feel like you're being used, and maybe when you ask for help, no, like those same people don't reciprocate.
Yeah, no
That
reciprocity.
definitely
Yeah,
can be draining.
that's when you just
and
ah, there's the line in the
right,
sand,
like bro,
motherfucker.
like yeah, this is not working. You're using me, but I can't use you. It's
Yeah.
not working. You gotta be able to
Yeah,
use
we
each
supposed
other.
to, you scrub my back and
Yeah,
scrub yours.
exactly. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
So we know with that bit of information you gave us, we know you're involved in politics.
yes.
So like, can you explain the political and social influence of underground hip hop?
Yeah, I think I could touch a little bit on it. You see it like in the earliest days, especially more than today's hip hop artists, where they're talking about like KRS One. You know what I'm saying? Like knowing your rights and
Yeah. Those were the best time of hip hop.
exercising your power. There's another one, the X Clan. X Clan has a great song that I love. I can't think about the title right off the top of my head, but like militant rap. You know what I'm saying? Like that's typically where you hear the political rap, where it's militant rap. Today you see it from artists like J. Cole, in small bits where he's like, I should be able to pick where my dollars go. I should be able to vote for what I want off the phone, like off my phone, like from an app from my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like you see that in like a song Brackets, I believe it is. You also see it like from artists today. I forget his name. Is it Wordsmith or Locksmith?
Okay.
You know Locksmith is?
I think I've
You've
heard
probably
of
seen the
them,
video.
yeah.
The nigga rides around in an Uber and he raps for people in his Uber.
That's
And
dope.
like it's very like political and like stand your ground type shit.
Yeah.
Like militant, letting people know that they have power. We don't
Right.
got to be victims of politicians and city budgets
Right.
and things like that. It has a place because this hip hop is all about competition, and we're all competing for something. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's to be the most famous rapper and the most idolized rapper, or making sure that our people got enough resources to survive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You see it all the time. You could talk about like Tupac, keep your head up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
about how the hard times that we face and how people ain't gonna give us nothing because they've never given us nothing for 400 years. They still ain't giving us nothing. So you know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be on us to do what we got to do to survive. You know, changes. You know, that's
Word.
another one. Still, I see no changes. All I see is
no, that
racist
sounds dope.
faces, misplaced hate. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's yeah. That's
it comes from a real place. You know what I'm saying? And hip hop can be used as a vehicle to really get people to understand what we're actually up
what's-
against.
Right. What we're
You know
going
what I'm saying?
through. Yep.
People love to say, "Oh, like you deal with some stereotypical people," or you see mainly you'll see it. You're hardly ever gonna run into it because people don't really engage with each other a lot, especially people
Facts,
that don't
yeah.
look like each
you,
other.
Yep.
They don't really engage with each other. But shit, where was I going with this? But
Maybe
you'll kind of see it like when like you see it on the internet like amongst white people, and they'll have like race debates, and they'll be like, oh, like you've been free for since whenever the fucking I forget when he signed the amendment, but when Abe Lincoln signed the amendment, but you've been free
Yeah.
for that long. But it's like, yeah, well, you had at the very
The
least you had a
Emancipation, I
200
think.
yeah,
Right.
the Emancipation Proclamation. You've at least had a 200-year head start, and then you got Jim Crow laws, and then you got just segregation in general, and then you got the stigmatism of black people, and then you get the wars all in between. Then you get like the Vietnam War, all those people coming back. You get the crack epidemic, and then you got the war on. Then you get the war on drugs, and then
Yep.
you know what I'm saying. Like every step of the way, our people have had to fight for every ground, for every inch of ground we've had. You know what I'm saying? So when you hear political rap and hip hop, it's not necessarily political rap. It's them sharing that experience. It's them doing their storytelling and letting people know that you have power regardless of whether you live in the mud or you sit in a fucking in a 8,000 square foot house.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
we're all up against like the same fight, and with unity we can overcome this impunity that we deal with as artists, as black people, you know what I'm saying, and as a country.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not
Music
glorified,
and,
but
and even like hip hop / rap, it's very powerful in especially like in the sense of when it comes to pushing like a message.
yeah,
And I mean, and you see it in hip hop a lot, where especially back in the day more, where more artists were say really can affect the vote of a president
mm-hmm.
by just dropping a couple lines or whatever on a song. But I want to segment into like for an example, you remember when Kanye West said on a I think it was in an interview, George Bush don't like black people.
Oh yeah. George Bush don't like
that
black
joke
people.
went viral. I want to segment into. Can you discuss a little bit about like
Damn,
how
I feel bad. I
artists-
didn't recognize Kanye when talking about political hip hop.
He's number one.
He's my man is fucking eye candy, bro. For
well,
that
currently,
shit.
right, for sure, right now. Can we talk about a little bit about like how artists use their platform, say, to influence like politics?
I think artists need to be more observant of what they give out to people. I don't think, especially like I wouldn't necessarily say the most popular, but people with real influence, like they could be a lot more impactful than I think they realize. And this is where we talk about like where it goes from like underground hip hop to mainstream hip
Mainstream.
hop,
Yeah.
where it's like I honestly do think some of these people would like to talk about it because they share their experience. Like somebody like Meek Mill, no, there's a very good chance he's never gonna walk out onto stage and do some shit like George Bush doesn't like white black people
Yeah.
kind of thing. He'll never. I don't think he'll ever do some shit like that. But he does care enough to share people what he's experiencing and how he got over those experiences and how he got to from where he started to where he is.
Yeah.
That in itself is like a form of like revolting against the things that are in place to hold us back.
Yeah. He's also working with the whole prison reform.
Yeah,
thing
the
from
prison
yeah.
reform. I think that we should be a lot more influential. I seen something the other day, and this has nothing to do with hip hop. He was a football player, but there was this struggling banana pudding shop. I forget where it was. So I think somewhere in California. And this one player, I'm pretty sure he was from the Chargers. I'm gonna find all this information and send it to you so you can show
Okay.
it. But he shows up to this pudding shop that was struggling, and she was on the verge of like closing up shop.
Wow.
And he went there and he gave the review just in his car about the pudding shop. The next day, in the fucking rain, there's a line all the way
Wow.
down 2 blocks and around the
He
corner.
probably saved her business.
He probably saved her business. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? That's just like the power of having 30,000 followers, 1,000,000
Yeah,
followers,
and using your
and
platform.
using
probably.
that to help people. For him, he just wanted some goddamn banana pudding. He was just letting people know
Ensuring
this
it.
spot was
Yeah,
good.
word.
He didn't tell not a single one of those people, come
He
here
called
and
it,
eat this
yeah.
pudding. He didn't tell none of that. But him just recognizing that, yo, this is some good dessert. They might have helped this woman for the rest of her life. You know what I'm
Facts,
saying?
yeah.
He might have been able to help her open up 2 more shops in a couple years. Who
Yeah,
knows?
Right. Who knows
You know what I'm
that
saying?
would
And
turn
and
out
we
to.
all have to think about that, like about even though I might only have 300 followers at the moment, there's 300 people watching and listening to me
On your pod, on YouTube.
on my platform.
Can you give the audiences maybe your handle, maybe they can
Oh,
follow
yeah.
you? I'm definitely gonna tag you,
You
too.
could-
I'll tag your channel. But go ahead, you can promote your channel.
I bet. You can find me at Dope Individuals Pod on Instagram and on TikTok. I always do
Word.
my live episodes on TikTok. I have a little bit bigger of a following on there. That's a little bit more engaging. But I use Instagram as my main station. So like, if you want like all the things that like I'm into, like to get to know me as a person and
Word.
things that I care about and share, Instagram is definitely the place. You can follow my YouTube at Dope Individuals Dope Individuals Podcast. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Dope Individuals Podcast on YouTube. Can't miss it. It has like a basketball logo and yeah.
I'll definitely be sharing it.
I
So,
appreciate that,
yeah,
bro.
for facts, bro.
But yeah, you can follow me there. On my link tree, you can find them on all of the platforms. Follow the link tree. I got my poetry page up there. So you can
You have
find
your
out the
music
type
stuff
of
on the link tree as well.
no, not the music stuff, but it will be going up soon because I'm working on
Okay.
something at the moment.
Where can we find like your old music? Not your old, but like the music you have made.
You can
already?
find it on Apple Music and Spotify. Just look
Oh,
up
okay.
Erod.
Erod.
And there's another dude that's up there, but he spells
With
it
the same
different. It's
name?
just but he puts a dash in his. There's no dash in mine. It's Erod.
I thought you would be the only one.
Yeah, nah. There's a one
You
other
should have
dude,
put Head 'em Low.
and he's whack too, bro. He's whack. But I've been thinking about changing.
Remember that name? That name was so long. Erod Hit 'em
Hit
Low.
'em Low Rodriguez.
That was the longest.
Yo, it took me so long to remove that shit, bro. But yeah, I run a podcast called Dope Individuals Only. It's a podcast where people come up and they share their stories and their testimony or their expertise. And the whole goal of the show is to help people. So
Word.
if you have something to take away from the show, then our job is done. We come up there and we have conversations. Some of the people I don't know. Some of the people I've known my entire life. I
want to segment into this last question. Maybe we can all benefit, and maybe people out there also can benefit.
Okay.
So kind of like we're talking about how artists use their platform for like social change and a big impact.
Yeah.
Kind of like you saw what happened to Kaepernick. You know, Kaepernick was trying to stand up for what's right, and he kind of got a whole negative backlash where he ended up losing his
Originally he got
job.
blackballed.
Yeah, he got
He got
blackballed.
blackballed.
So my question to you is like, I'm sure other artists probably do want to speak up. Maybe they're afraid because they saw what kind of
I'm
happened
gonna
to
cut you. Can I
Kaepernick.
cut you off?
Go ahead.
Don't take their money. I know it shit sounds easier said than done, but don't take their money.
Right. This is the whole point.
In-
Talk
in-
about being independent.
Independent.
Yeah.
Because that's what it always comes down to, and you see it everywhere. The first thing they do is they take your endorsement deals. The first thing they do is fuck with your money. You see it right now with I'm not saying that it's justified or it's not justified, but you see it right now going on with Diddy and Cassie, where Diddy might have been putting his hands on his woman, which I don't condone. If you hit women, use a bitch ass nigga.
Right.
But he was doing something in a relationship. It got ugly, and the first thing they started doing was pulling all his endorsements. Pepsi's gone, with publishing companies gone, and now he's being sued for like half of his fucking like his worth of what he's built up for himself since the early 90s. So if you want to be able to damn, that shit's loud. If you want to be able to say the things that you want to say, if you want to be able to talk about the things that you want to talk about, you have to rely on your fans to help you live the lifestyle that you want to live, and not companies that pay you, yes, big dollars, but put handcuffs on you. And if ultimately you got to figure out what you want to do, as who you want to be as a person, and what your version of integrity looks like. Because you could say one thing, but you not standing on it shows that you don't got no backbone. That's not having integrity. But or you could say something and you be like somebody like Kaepernick and you get blackballed, but I'm gonna continue doing the work because this is what I'm gonna stand on this. Yeah. I think Kaepernick's problem fucked up when Kaepernick took the money the second time around. I think everything that Kaepernick did he took a deal. They sued the NFL for blackballing him and basically saying that he missed out on millions and millions of dollars for the couple years that he still could have been.
With him?
The NFL settled with him.
He took the cap.
Yes, this was about the year, I think 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He took like $30 million from the NFL. Once he took the money, he was never going to get a shot to play in the NFL again. Yeah. It didn't matter how well you looked, how bad the quarterbacks were, how much you worked out. Yeah. It did not matter. Right. Once you took the money, you lost all your leverage. We paid you already. Shut the fuck up and get out of here. Which is also why you also don't see a lot of these things that he put in motion in the NFL. You don't see them anymore. You don't see the people standing up and throwing up fists or taking knees. You don't see them standing locked arms at the 50-yard line, or on the white lines around the field and bringing out big ass flags. You don't see none of that shit. You know why? Because they silenced him. He's still doing the work, but he'll never play football again. And this is why I say, like, he got blackballed, but he took the money, and that's where you fuck up at.
So are you saying he should have just kept going with the case?
I'm saying that he.
But what would have ended up happening? They would have probably nobody would have got locked up. They would have just had to pay. Or are you saying that he should have fought for the rights to play in NFL?
If his goal, he's still to this very moment in time, he had J. Cole write a letter this past year to the Jets when they lost Aaron Rodgers. Okay. And he said, let me come in and I'll just be the practice squad quarterback so I can help these guys get ready for when Aaron Rodgers returns. Sounds like a great fucking deal. You're getting a quarterback who fucking played at an MVP level caliber level.
Went to the Super Bowl.
He went to a Super Bowl. He was probably one of the best quarterbacks, top 5 quarterback in his peak years.
Yeah.
You get him to come in and work with a bunch of guys who play your scout teams and who help your quarterbacks get ready for the week. You're probably going to have some better prepared players. But guess what? They did not bring him in. And I'm not bringing him in either. You're going to have a fucking media circus. And 2, you already paid this man to walk away and never look at the NFL again. You know what I mean?
Did you think he understood that when he took that money?
I think that he thought he could have his cake and eat it too. Which is why you have somebody like J. Cole write a letter to the Jets when they lose their quarterback. But I think if he really made like a really conscious decision of, if I take this money, what does this mean for me ever playing football again? I don't think he would have taken the money. And if his ultimate goal was to play football again, he should not have taken the money. Because every time you see them whenever you get paid by somebody, now you're in cahoots with them. Now you gotta realize that your brand is also a representative of their brand, and their brand is a representative of you. And if their views don't
Align with
don't
your
register, align
yeah,
with what
yeah.
you got going on, that black and brown people deserve to have equity, black and brown people deserve to have equality, black and brown people deserve a fair shot. If their views don't align with that, which many companies don't, especially big corporations, what makes you think that they're gonna still have that mindset after you sign with them? It doesn't
Yeah.
change, motherfucker.
I feel like these big companies really is like it's like those topics. It's like almost they don't like talking about it
because it's
too hard
business.
for
It's
them.
business.
You know,
It's they're strictly
which
business.
is so sad. But
I shouldn't even say that. They're strictly business to an account. But if the roles were flipped, I can't say that it would be strict if it was strictly business. Like, but there's also another thing, right? Where we watch something that mainly white people go through that black people don't really have to experience,
talk about
which
that.
is like people walking into schools and killing 20, 30 kids.
Right,
That's not something you see in the black community. We have kids die.
right.
They might get caught in crossfire and shootouts, or you know what I mean. Somebody might fucking run somebody over with a car. You might see shit like
Yeah.
that.
But
And like
school
black,
shootings is
but school,
different. Yeah, yeah.
it's we're far removed from it. That's only something you see in white communities. But the one thing you also don't see the NFL do is stand there in solitude with all the white parents in America who just lost their kids in a mass shooting. You don't see that. They're strictly about business, even though it affects people that looks like most of the owners, most of the GMs, most of the fucking draft teams, most of the officials. They still don't do shit like that. So
Gotcha.
it's strictly business in many
Yeah.
aspects for them.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying?
Interesting. So basically, I guess what I took from this is, if you're really trying to push your message or your action or your beliefs, make
What-
sure you're independent. You have full control.
Or you
of
find
what you're
people, or
doing.
you find companies that believe in you,
Or you
and
align
your
with
message
companies
and
that
what you're
work-
trying
work
to.
and work for those particular.
Yeah,
companies.
yeah.
That's a fact.
They got to
That
be
was- yeah.
aligned. The vision got to be aligned.
That's
you
true.
you
That's
can't
true.
have people facing this way walking with you in this direction.
That's
It
a
don't
fact.
work like that.
Word. So that's it for the podcast. My
So
question.
that's it.
I want to respect Eric's time here. He told me I
Yeah,
guess he got-
I
he got-
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate
Yeah, thanks for
you.
coming for
Yeah,
sure, bro.
Likewise.
My man is rocking his Eagles
Yeah,
sweater.
yeah.
This wasn't
I
planned.
I told him I was gonna wear this, and
This
he's like, I'm gonna wear a Christmas sweater.
Nah,
too.
get out of here.
All this for your love. A lack of motivation got me really considering quitting this, but it got a hold of me. I blame it on my penmanship. I heard a joke one time, and he said they never fear a man that knows 1,000 moves, but to fear the man that knows one move but practice it 1,000 times. In other words, rap doesn't excite me because I know it like it's the back of my hand. But fuck it, y'all don't wanna hear me bend, I'll just get back to the plan. I've been nice, it's obvious, you can tell by the way I walk. I'm styling on these niggas, you can hear it in how I talk. A man with a plan, kill every nigga with guapo. Line them up just to lay him down. I'm the Gestapo, been giving the fans heat for years now. This shit's expected. You wanted bars and I gave you bars and you still neglected. That's cool, I'ma get it right regardless. There's a reason nobody tests me, I'm not the one to spar with. The Joe Jackson of this rap shit, I treat opponents like my kids. You better believe they getting their ass whipped. I ain't rich but I'm successful, check the lineage. I raised it up a couple of levels, done with the penny biz. Let me stop.